Roy, it's lovely to speak to you here today.
Thank
A
you so
beautiful film you've got in Big Hero 6 and great characters, which made me wonder, which character do you feel like you are most like? And which character would you like to be like and why?
Well, it's interesting, and it's a weird answer, but I feel a little bit like Go Go. I like to come in and take control and make things happen, and that's what Go Go. I think Go Go is really the one person in the Big Hero 6 team that was born to be a superhero.
Definitely, I love that character as well, and I love her line, "Woman up" as well.
Yeah, woman up. Yeah.
In Big Hero 6, we've got a lot of ideas, such as seeing and thinking of things from different angles. That comes up a lot.
Absolutely, that's good.
And also that kind of pushing of boundaries as well. And I wondered how much that reflected your experience of making this movie.
Well, I think that's what we're always trying to do. We're always trying to push the boundaries. But still, you know, it's funny because with Disney, you have a certain legacy. And we want to build stories that actually, you know, reflect that legacy, but also are fresh and new. You know, every 10 years, storytelling changes in cinema. And so we're trying to keep it fresh, and we're always trying to open new doors.
Now, of course, we've got a mashup here, haven't we, with Disney and Marvel. We've got that whole East meets West thing going on as well. We've got man meets high tech and heart and high octane action, all of those kind of things we love. But maybe wonder, what kind of thing would you like to see mashed up next? What kind of meeting of different worlds would you love to see Disney do next?
Oh, that's an interesting question. You know, I think that the mashup concept is so wonderful, and what happens with Big Hero 6 is, you know, when you take San Fransokyo, you have Tokyo and San Francisco, and you mix those two together, it makes people really comfortable with being there, you know? So many people have said they want to be in San Fransokyo. So I think it's a great concept, and, you know, I would turn to my directors to say, all right, what's best for the story? So whatever story we come up with, we'll figure out some sort of mashup.
Well, what about maybe more animated movies, like maybe a Star Wars animated movie? What do you think about that?
I think Star Wars right now is very busy, and they have their own things to do. You know, the way we make films at Disney is that the directors come up with a concept, and then they pitch that concept. But not just one, they pitch 3, because you never want to put all your emotional eggs in one basket. And you pitch those stories, and if John Lasseter and our story trust, which is basically the rest of the directors, think it's a good idea, that kind of opens the door for development. So if a director comes up with an idea, any idea, that sparks the imagination, that's how a film becomes a film.
And you mentioned eggs, you were talking about all eggs in one basket, which made me think, of course, a great thing about often these animated movies, it's those wonderful Easter eggs we have in there. I know often it's the animators who put them in there, and I remember reading that Don and Chris were like, there were so many in there, we had to take some out.
Exactly.
But I wondered if you had particular favourite ones in the movie.
In the film? Yeah, well, there's one that I really love, and I won't tell you what it is, but it happens during the rocket fist scene. The very first time he uses his rocket fist, you can see it.
Are there ones that you would love to see, you think, oh, I know, I love that movie so much, I'd love in a future film to see an Easter egg for? I
love Pinocchio, that's my favorite animated film, and actually in my last film, Tangled, there was a little Pinocchio Easter egg, so I don't think there's not a Pinocchio one on this one.
And what do you think the chances are we're going to see a sequel for Big Hero 6? Because it feels like at the end,
everyone's
that question. Yes, we want more.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, same thing in terms of building these films. If the directors have an idea for a sequel, they will pitch it with 3 other ideas or 2 other ideas, and if it's a good story, we'll probably do it. But we have to take a little time off for right now.
But in a fantasy world where you could have anything happen in this Big Hero 6 future with Baymax and the other great characters, what would you personally love to see them do next?
I mean, it's interesting because we've all fallen in love with these characters, and so in one sense, I would love to see more stories about Baymax, because I think that his compassion and the way that people love him, I think even though a movie may not be made, I think he will live on in the hearts of audiences forever. How
likely do you think it is that Big Hero 6 now is going to kickstart more animated movies that are in the superhero genre?
Yeah, you know, it'll be interesting because you know, the one other one that was made was The Incredibles, which is probably my favorite recent movie in animation. Pinocchio is my favorite old-time movie in animation. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think that you should never limit yourself to genre. You should just try and find the story that touches hearts And then if that fits within the superhero world, so be it.
Now, what can we look forward to you working on next after Big Hero 6?
Well, I'm going to take a big vacation. I'm going to take a big hero vacation, as we call it. And then I'm going to come back, and there's about 3 or 4 things in development right now that I'll go and help. And then as soon as it comes up to the top, it's kind of like cream. When the cream rises to the top, that's when I jump in and help.
Tell us a little bit about, what we can look forward to from those things that are in development at the moment.
I can tell you about, there's a film called Moana that's going to be coming out, which is really exciting. Takes place in the South Pacific. And there is a film called Zootopia that will be coming next, which is a lot of fun. So that's what I can talk about.
And you're looking forward to maybe seeing a little Pinocchio Easter egg in one of those?
Always, I look forward to seeing a little Pinocchio. It's funny, I watch Pinocchio once a year, and I advise everyone to do so.
How does your experience change with it as you've watched it over the years?
Well, it's interesting, because it does. Well, like with any great film, your experience changes. I think, when I was a little kid, it was all about teaching me how to be a good little boy. And I look at it now, it teaches me how to be a good man.
And finally, if you could have worked on any Disney movie in the past or present, what would you love to have worked on and why?
Pinocchio! Pinocchio!
How did I know you were going to say that?
Absolutely. No, it's so funny. The other one that I really, really love is Jungle Book. I think Jungle Book is such an amazing film. But, Pinocchio is my childhood.
Fantastic, Roy. It's been so lovely talking to you. Thanks for your time.
Great to talk to you, absolutely. Thanks.